Hello and welcome to Made. In this video I want to show you how I made this wreath. So I do call it Blue Lives Matter wreath, however you can use whatever color you want. I just want to show you the basics. So this is my base for the wreath, a cable, old cable, phone cable, whatever cable you can find. It needs to be a decent strength. So I do love upcycling, right? So that's why I was very tempted to show you this project. I do not want to buy cheap items from some countries, and I prefer if we use what we already have. So instead of throwing out this cable, I used it for base for the wreath. You can also use old coat hanger and you will have the hook on it right away. There are basically tons of different materials you can use, and I can pretty much guarantee you that once you put enough fabric, nobody would see what was underneath. However, I did opt for this black cable because I knew that if a small part shows, it will be basically well camouflaged, or the black will go with the theme. You can just do one loop or you can double it like I did in this case, just to make sure. I do think that plastic cable can be somewhat pliable outside, either when it's on the sun or in cold, and it can change shape. So I figured that making it double will make it a little bit more stable. And I had plenty of materials. Anyhow, so that's the base of the wreath. I do want to let you know that this wreath is a cute idea for upcycling. It's a great idea for any level of craftiness, meaning anybody can handle it, from a person that never ever did any crafts and feel they are useless to a kid, to kids, child. Any child can make one knot, and that's basically what it is. So I did attach the two cables with duct tape. You can use piece of wire, you can use scotch tape, whatever you have. And then I opted for three colors and I use fleece. I do love fleece material because it is basically recycled plastic bags, because it doesn't fray and because it will do fine outside. So it's quite easy to work with. I was also thinking about using, I don't know what they are called, zigzag embroidery scissors, the scissors with teeth, and they would give it basically a kind of ornamental edge almost. However, I went just with straight lane and normal regular scissors. So all the stripes, it's up to you what length you want to make them. For me, 6 inches work the best. I did worry that if I make it 7 or 8, the upper part of the wreath can kind of become floppy, right? The thickness does play some role as well. It's not very important. However, once again, if you make it under ½ inch, it may be a little too floppy. If it's 1 inch, it seems to be a perfect size. 2 inches is good too. But that also depends on the size of the wreath, right? If you are making small 8-inch one, you probably want to make it more cute. If you make massive 20, 27, 30-inch one, then I would go for thicker and longer pieces. But I would recommend you to first cut a few and place them on the base and see if you like it or not. I made these before, so I do know what works for me, and that's why I'm sharing it with you as well. By the way, the material doesn't have to be all same texture and same material. I did use fleece, but one of them, the gray one, is a little bit thinner, and I feel like it didn't make a difference really. As you can see, I am upcycling old pieces of clothing that had holes on them, and I just didn't want to throw them out. Also, fleece is not the best material to upcycle, right? If I have old t-shirt, I can use it as rags, but fleece is kind of strange material to use for anything else. So I was glad I came up with this, and I am using my old fleece into the last thread. So once I do kind of prefer to work in stages. So first I made a wreath and then I made the strips, and then I'm going to relax, enjoy and listen to some awesome music and tie them on the base of the wreath. So this is exciting part and I think kids would enjoy helping. However, this stage of tying it up is the most exciting. So I sped up the video a little bit. Hopefully you can see that I am really making just one simple knot. So I put the strip of the fabric kind of midway through, and I make one knot. If you want to, you can make two. If you want to, you can make one that's like a loop, so it would be leaning one direction. It's almost like macrame style knot. However, I was playing with this to do as an activity for kids, and I figured simpler the better, right? And I truly do think that many people would like to be crafty or creative in some way, but sometimes they are feeling intimidated that something may be too difficult to do. So my hope was that this is truly super easy, and once you finish it, it's very satisfying. It can give you, you know, nice and warm and fuzzy feeling when you look at it, when you display it, or when you give it to somebody. And the one thing that you are probably able to see is that even though I somewhat thought that I can guess 6-inch length, some of the pieces are not exactly the same. However, they are all over the place, so that's fine. The problem will be, I guess, if you have half of the wreath one size and half the other. So as long as Americans still like the word eclectic, we are okay. So now you can see me tying the final touches. By the way, um, the tied ribbons or the strips can be pushed a little bit, right? So even if you make a mistake and make kind of bigger gap, you can squeeze it a little bit and add more, or you can push it aside and add more pieces wherever you see a gap. So I hope that you kind of see the almost final and I think pretty beautiful project. I was very happy to make this. I made few different types and I find it very satisfying. I do enjoy listening to music or even news sometimes, or watching a show. I also spend time with my friends that we are just chatting and I do something with my hands. I'm not being rude, I just enjoy doing something with my hands. I actually feel awkward if I don't do. I do think it actually makes me a better listener as well. So this is almost it. I am pretty satisfied and I hope you like it as well. It looks really nice by itself, and here I'm using it as a wreath. I added some jingle bells. I was, by the way, thinking it can also be used on a tray or as a centerpiece, right? It can be laid down as well. I just threw it right here on a little tree to show you how it will look like outside. These colors are really, really nice against snow. And I think it's important to spread the message that blue lives truly matter. Thank you for everything, guys. Alright, thank you for watching Hannah Made.